Women aren't lazy. It's not that women aren't trying hard enough. My hunch is you can do hard things and you probably do want to create better health, see the weight go, feel better. I'm going to tell you why this 5 day weight loss challenge works when other things don't. You are motivated, but what women needed was a better plan. So the challenge is not about being perfect. It's about seeing what actually works in real life. The biggest thing that women struggle with is consistency. You show up every hour, you show up every day, you learn how to make things habitual. Women aren't successful with weight loss because they quit too soon. A lifestyle shift is required here, an identity shift is required here. Diet culture doesn't teach you this. Why you eat what you eat. You're not broken. The strategies that you have been using have failed you. You are not the failure. Well, hey there. If you're a woman over 40, maybe you're in your 50s or your 60s, maybe even your 70s, and you still feel like no matter what you do, you just can't seem to get a handle with your weight, this episode is for you. And I'm so excited to share this one because, I've been running these smart weight loss challenges now, for months. And that means we've had a couple thousand women go through them. And I've had the chance to have conversations, to hear their stories, hear their pain, the frustration, the exhaustion that goes along when you feel like you've been battling your weight for years. Some of these women have said that, they've been doing this since they were little girls. And, what I see is there's these themes, right? Women aren't lazy. It's not that women aren't trying hard enough. Listen, if you're listening to this episode right now, my hunch is you can do hard things and you probably do want to create better health, see the weight go, feel better. It's just the approaches you're trying aren't working for you. And then the other thing I'm seeing is that so many women are hearing that, menopause, perimenopause, you're just stuck with it. And it almost makes you feel disempowered or like you just need to accept it. But in reality, this episode, what I'm going to be covering is, I ask a question to all women who join this challenge, and I say, "Hey, what do you think you struggle most with?" And you want to know what the number one answer is? Absolutely the clear winner. It's consistency, followed by confusion, don't know what to do, and giving up too soon, having unrealistic expectations of how fast weight loss should happen. So today, I'm going to tell you exactly what I've learned from women about, when I run these challenges. I'm going to tell you why this 5 day weight loss challenge works when other things don't. And yes, of course, if you're interested, I will share exactly how to join the next one at the end of this episode. So, here's the deal. I didn't come up with this challenge as a way to motivate people. I actually was really against 5 day challenges. I thought, oh, what can you actually do in 5 days? It's not like I believe in any of the hype around lose 10 pounds in 5 days. Like that's just not it. But what I saw is that women aren't getting the level of information that they require to truly be successful. Everything out there is about the protein or the 10,000 steps or making sure you're exercising more or just cutting out carbs. And that's just not it. And chances are, that. And so I also didn't feel like women needed just to have this raw motivational pep talk either. Right. I mean, you are motivated. If you're still trying the different diets out there and you're looking for the next thing, you are motivated. But what women needed was a better plan, a better approach, a better understanding of how to work with their body, and most importantly, a better understanding of how to work with their mind, the mindset piece of this, and the heart stuff in this, because it's not just about the food. Now, most women that I actually work with as clients, they've tried everything. Everything under the sun is what they'll say. So they're not beginners. They're advanced dieters, chronic dieters. And like I said, many have done all the things like Weight Watchers repeatedly. I don't even know how many clients of mine have been lifetime Weight Watch members. They've gone low carb, no carb, no sugar, no flour. They've done the detoxes, the 3 day, the 7 day, the 14 day. But notice how there's no 365-day detox. They've tried intermittent fasting. They've tried intermittent fasting with going keto. They've tried logging their food in every single complicated app that's out there. They've tried intuitive eating. They've tried eating clean. They've tried juicing. I mean, oh my God. They've tried it all, and yet somehow at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., in spite of knowing all the things, they'll find themselves sabotaging. So the challenge is not about being perfect. It's about seeing what actually works in real life, in your life. It's what works with your job, what works with your stress levels. Maybe you're like me and you're part of the sandwich generation. You're looking after kids while looking after a parent. Maybe you're perimenopausal or menopausal. You've got some hormone stuff going on, but please let me tell you, hormones cannot be blamed for everything. You can lose weight and be in perimenopause or menopause. Maybe you travel a lot for work or just for fun and for life, but you find that you've got this idea that when you travel, you should be able to have and do whatever you want and, indulge, etc. It's maybe this has to work with your family. No woman wants to be a short order chef and make 4 different meals or eat completely differently from her family. That's hard. That's just too hard. And maybe it's just you're tired. You're tired from all the weeks, all the months, all the years of carrying the emotional load. And you actually really like that 9 o'clock glass of wine or that bowl of popcorn because right now that's the only way you know how to have me time. So here's the deal, you cannot lose weight in a bubble. People who go to Hilton Head and they go to these 14-day weight loss clinics and resorts where everything's taken care of and you get all your food prepped for you and you just get to go and exist. But then you go back to real life. Sure, when you're there, you do lose the weight, but then you just get shot putted back into your life and you have no idea how to cope. So here is the first lesson. The biggest thing that women struggle with is consistency. And the reason that they struggle with consistency isn't because they lack discipline and it's not because they lack willpower or motivation. They're simply overwhelmed. And they're overwhelmed with this idea, whether you're conscious of it or not, that you think you have to show up and do weight loss perfectly every single day forever. This is not true. And if you think that, even at that subconscious level, no wonder you hate it. No wonder you give up by Thursday. That is not possible. And that is not what consistency means. What I've learned is this. Look, women are inconsistent because they believe that the level of perfection they have to attain is going to be so hard. And so they try to do so much at once to be perfect because that's what the diets teach. And then they can't do it. So let me just play this out and how this looks in real time. Maybe you step on the scale and you see the highest number you've seen, or you pull on your big pair of jeans and even those are tight, or you just have that feeling where you're like, oh, I just feel so gross in my body. And that feeling translates to, okay, that's it. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to cut sugar, cut carbs. I'm going to give up alcohol. I'm never going to snack. I'm never going to eat any of those things that I, enjoy. And I'm going to be really good. I'm going to be on the wagon. That's not a sustainable weight loss plan. In many ways, that's like us having an emotional temper tantrum to an outcome we've got in our life, and we don't know what to do about it. The other thing that happens with consistency is we believe that to be consistent, that there's this level of like intensity we're going to have to bring to life every single day, whether it's you think you got to be perfect with your 10,000 steps with your weighted vest, or you got to be working out hard or getting that perfect grams of protein in or number of grams of protein in at every meal. That is hard. It's hard to do. I'm an expert in this stuff and I'm not consistent with perfection. But consistency, what it does mean is it means you show up. You show up every hour. You show up every day. You learn how to make things habitual. You learn how to allow the boring things to be boring and repeatable and simple and doable so that even when you're tired, you're still committed. Consistency and commitment go hand in hand. You have to be able to do this work when you're tired, exhausted, stressed, when life is lifing. And it's really hard to do all of that perfectly. And that's why the Smart Weight Loss Challenge works for women. I don't ask you to embrace 47 new habits and to do 10 of them before you've even like stepped out of your front door in the morning. But I do help you understand the daily actions, the simple daily actions that you need to take, you get to take to truly start taking care of yourself. And when you start to bring in a level of self care that is repeatable, that you do it when you're feeling amazing and you do it when you're not, when you start to show up for yourself day after day after day, you actually start to build trust with yourself again. And that is the real flex. Why? Because most women are engaged in a relationship of self betrayal. You say one thing, but you do another. You tell yourself, I'm not going to drink tonight. And then you have the drink. You say you're going to get up early and go work out. And then you hit snooze. You say that you're going to avoid all of those bad foods. And then you find yourself almost sneaking or closet eating or eating in your car where no one can see you. And you pretend you're doing the work, but you know that you're actually lying to yourself a couple of times a day, maybe even dozens of times a day. So right now, if you're like trying to follow a plan that requires you to be or to be living a life that you're not actually living, that doesn't exist for you. It's not a plan. It's a wish, it's a hope, it's a dream, but that's really hard to turn into reality. Now, the second lesson that is loud and clear, and I see this all the time with my personal clients, but also with the women that are coming into this challenge, is women aren't successful with weight loss because they quit too soon. They expect their body to reward themselves, they expect their body to reward their efforts of being good or on a wagon so fast. And fat loss just doesn't work that way. This one is huge. I mean, based on what you get to see in headlines on, blog posts about how fast weight loss should be, it's like, yeah, I remember when I was trying to lose weight, this is a long time ago, I'd see, oh, so such and such celebrity got her body back after baby in 10 days. And somehow all of that repeated messaging lands in our brain. And we think that even though it may have taken weeks, months, years to put on the 30, 40, 50 pounds, because it did, nobody just woke up that much overweight the very next day. It's a progression. Weight loss, fat loss is also a progression. It takes time to burn some of that excess energy off your body. But for us, we're like, when you're overweight, and I know this, you're so desperate for it to be gone. Like you want that weight gone yesterday, and you feel so gross that you just want to go to that extreme level of action. And hopefully it will manifest in this like extreme level of weight loss, but it doesn't work. So many women are only giving themselves, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then somehow they're expecting like this massive drop on the scale. And when it doesn't happen, they decide, well, this doesn't work. And then they'll either diet hop or they give up. They'll, give up for a few weeks and be miserable and go back to all of their old ways. And then they have to start again. And that start stop energy is so exhausting. So here's what you have to understand is if you have a diet history, as most women do, how you perceive your ability to lose weight will be influenced with your relationship to the scale. Is the scale this emotional thing where you step on it, step off it, you look at the number and you either, feel defeated or elated, right? Defeated because you're not seeing the weight loss happen, or elated because you've lost some weight and now you feel sneakily that you can go do anything. And what I see is you get addicted to this feedback from the scale. I used to get naked and stand on the scale 10 to 12 times a day. That is the relationship I had with the scale. It's like if I had salad for lunch, I somehow expected to be 2 pounds lighter by dinner, and it doesn't work that way. And it's like logically, I knew that, but I still was hoping for that to be the result. And so here's the thing, you're good for 3 or 4 days. And then the scale kind of claps for you with a lower number. And that gives you a gold star. You're like, okay, good. But the minute that you've been good for 3 or 4 days and you step on it and that number's a little bit higher, or there's no change or only a change of half a pound, you get pissed off and you get rebellious. You're like, oh, well, if this doesn't work, I might as well just give up. And that is how we start to get addicted to chasing Mondays. right? And so if we're only consistent 3 or 4 days of the week and the other 3 or 4 days, we're just kind of doing what we want, we're back into our old habits, I call that weight loss purgatory. Your brain thinks about all the effort you're putting in and you forget about the times that you're just sort of off that wagon. Now, I don't like those terms because I believe as long as you're on something, there is something to fall off. And that is why the weight loss challenge does so much teaching into helping you understand a lifestyle shift is required here, an identity shift is required here. And so the body, what we have to understand is the body doesn't work like that, right? The body takes time. I ask my clients, in the challenge, I say, visualize fat as a log on a fire. When you put a log on the fire, it doesn't just combust like that, does it? No, it takes time to burn. So we have to give our body enough time to burn off that excess energy. And here's the deal. If you're listening to this and you're 5'4" or more petite than that, 5'2", 5'1", you need to be even more patient because your height is an influencer on your physiological rate of healthy fat loss. Okay. Really important. Now, what we have to do, and one of the things I ask my clients to do, is to always reflect on those non scale victories because we've got to take a look at the whole arena, the whole playing field and start to see how the little things that we're doing repeatedly over time, the impact that it's having on our whole life, not just the scale, which means maybe you notice that cravings are going down or you don't have them at all, that your sleep is getting better. You're not going to bed with acid reflux or heartburn. You're sleeping through the night. Maybe you are less achy. The inflammation drops. You're able to move better. Your energy is skyrocketing. Before, when you'd be on the couch at 7, you now have the ability to go out and do stuff. The food noise in your head has quieted down. You've stopped thinking about food all day long and you stop or disengage from that whole emotional eating cycle. You know what that's called? That's called progress. That is what's happening. Every single one of those wins is going to help you create that first pound, that next 5 pounds, the next 10 pounds of weight loss. But you have to notice those changes and not poo poo them. I mean, that is significant to helping you become that better, healthier, more energetic version of yourself. But diet culture doesn't teach you this. Most of diet culture focuses on the aesthetic, on the food perfection, and on the scale. So if you've been programmed that way, we have to understand it. But you've also got to be at a point in your life where you're like, okay, you're smart. You're able to be self reflective for a moment and start to disengage from diet culture. You can still want to lose weight. You can still want to look great in a pair of jeans. However, you've got to be able to see these other things as victories for yourself. Lesson number 3, women are confused. They're confused about what to do, and confusion, when the mind is confused, confusion keeps you stuck because you don't have a clear path forward. You don't know what are the right actions to take. Maybe you dabble with a couple actions that you think are the right, but then you don't get the results you want because you're impatient based on lesson number 2. So then you flip strategies or you switch it up and you do this really quick. And this is what creates diet hopping. This is what creates women pulling like 17 different strategies and they try to create or concoct their own weight loss or diet strategy and then still don't get results. So I understand this. I see this all the time on TikTok, on Instagram, and it's chaotic. And I feel for women who are trying to tackle this issue, this health and weight loss journey, because one expert says eat 6 times a day, but make them really small meals. Somebody else is saying you need to intermittent fast. Definitely do not break your fast until noon. Somebody else says carbs are the devil. You need to omit sugar. You need to omit flour. Somebody else says carbs, fruit is nature's candy. You need to have carbs in your life. You've got an exercise expert or influencer saying you need to lift really heavy 3 to 4 times a week. But somebody else is like, no, 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 go walk your 10,000 steps with your weighted vest. Somebody else says, who cares about any of that? Just do what feels right for you and your body. Just trust your intuition. The problem with that is my intuition, back when I didn't have the skills that I had developed to use with food or manage my emotions, my intuition when I was sad said, hey, Jen, go get a cookie. It'll make you feel better. And it's a circus out there. This is a challenge for women because where do you go? And at the end of the day, here's the truth. There's a million different ways to lose weight. all different types of exercise is important for us. I think we need to understand that we've got to play the long game here. Like if you're 50 like me, I'm taking a look at what I need to do for myself, my health at 75, at 80, at 85 because I want to be able to get off the toilet. I want to be able to get to the toilet. So if you're engaging in all of this consumption of the media around dieting, you've probably lost your way, which is why the 5-day smart weight loss challenge that I'm so thrilled to have created, it offers you a path, right? Confusion makes women freeze. Freezing leads to quitting. Quitting leads to the shame cycle of, oh, what's wrong with me? How come I just don't have more willpower? And shame leads to that F it mentality where you're just like, whatever, I'm a good person. I should just be able to do whatever I want and feel happy. Right. So the 5-day challenge gives you something that most women have never had, a simple, science based structure. We need structure in our life. You cannot live your life in chaos and expect to lose weight. You cannot wing it and hope for great results. You cannot just do what you feel like in the moment and feel like weight loss should be happening for you. That just doesn't work. And chances are you know that. But we also need to go deeper than just the food. We have got to get to the root stuff that's going on up here and that's going on in here. Why? Because we're social emotional creatures as women. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that carrots are better than chips at 9 p.m. I bet at 9 p.m. you don't care. You say F it and you go get what you want, no matter what you know. That's sabotage. And so once we start to break down not just the structure, but how to start looking and healing some of those issues and the ways that you've coped with food, have used food to deal with your feelings, that is your path to freedom. Freedom with food, freedom from the scale, freedom with your body, freedom to just not have food on your mind so much. And it's not about having rules or being restricted or starting over every Monday. Structure is like the scaffolding that you get to build your life around. Because when you have structure, you have a sense of calm. You have a sense of trust. You know what you need to do. Most diets just tell you what not to do, what not to eat. And then you just stop being so dramatic if you make a mistake or if you eat a cookie. It's just a cookie, right? You get to get your power back from food. Food is neutral. That's what I like to teach everybody I work with is food is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. What's problematic is how much we have of something and how often we have it and why we're consuming it. It's really, I say this about wine too. One glass of wine, it's very different than 3 glasses or a bottle. One glass of wine every now and then is very different than 3 glasses of wine a night. Having some french fries every now and then, totally different than stopping at the drive through every day and ordering a large fries. So a lot of times the poison is in the dose, but we get lost in that and we start to think we have to give up everything forever. So here's the real pattern I've seen for women. Again, this is after, people that I haven't even worked with, but have come into this challenge is women don't fail because they don't know what to eat. They fail because they don't know what to do when they're stressed, they're tired, they're disappointed, they're lonely, they're overwhelmed, they're celebrating and it's a joyful situation and they don't want to have FOMO. They're traveling or they're in the I deserve it mode. So I have been in this industry a long time. And I know, it's why I wrote my second book, Stop Sabotaging Your Weight Loss, because it doesn't just matter what you know, it matters what you're able to do. It matters how you take this knowledge and how you're able to apply it consistently over time in a way that allows you to live your life and still be successful with your health or weight loss goals. And that is why I do not just talk about food. That is why in this challenge, we talk about why you eat what you eat. We talk about why the possible reasons that you do self sabotage. We talk about the emotional eating cycle and we talk about how to build you up, your emotional resilience up, so that you can handle your life, whatever hard that's in it, without the food. Because the goal isn't to have a perfect week. Right? The goal is to embrace a new reality with food, a new reality with how you view yourself, and to allow weight loss to happen. So if you're thinking, okay, this sounds great, this is different than anything I've ever done, then start here. because until you do something differently, you do get the same results. This challenge is where you get to stop guessing. It's where you get to stop doing the random things that do not work. And you also get to stop blaming your age or stage of life. I mean, I've my oldest client was 82. I've got many clients in their late 60s, early 70s who are still focused on weight. Think about how much time and energy you've spent in your life thinking about this problem instead of tackling it and breaking free from it. So, in this challenge, in the 5 days, we're going to cover how fat loss actually works at the physiological level. I'm pretty nerdy that way. What you need to focus on first, how to build consistency without being extreme or believing that you need to be perfect, and how to not quit on yourself every time life gets lifey, every time it gets hard. And then, really, how to make this simple. SMART for me stands for sustainable, protecting your metabolic health, aligning your actions, building your resilience, and letting that transformation come. And the best part is you don't do it alone. We do it as a community. We do it to have fun. You do it with women who are tired of doing it in the diet culture way. Let's just let that be so 2025. And you get to you get to do this in a way where you break free of the circus. Alrighty, so if you've been listening to this episode and you're like, this is me, I'm willing to spend an hour a day for 5 days to learn how to do this differently, like 2026 is truly going to be your year, then you're going to want to go to the number five, okay, 5day weightloschallenge.com. So the number 5day weightloschallenge.com. You can follow me on Instagram. We've got all sorts of resources there for you, and you can find out different ways. If you're driving right now and listening to this, we have it in the show notes. But this is your opportunity to start something and to do it differently. Tickets, to be clear and transparent, they're $27. I want this challenge to be as accessible to as many women as possible so that you're able to come in and do this. However, there is just room for 200 women. So go and grab that ticket. I mean, literally, you've got everything to gain. You've got some weight that you can lose in a different, gentler way. And here's the deal. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, what if I try this and I fail again? What if you don't? Because here's the deal. You're not broken. The strategies that you have been using have failed you. You are not the failure. So once you learn a better strategy, you get better and different outcomes. I would love to help you with that. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Weight Loss Simplified. As you can tell, I'm super passionate about these challenges and what they've given to women. I'm so thrilled that I took a chance on creating them and that we've been able to help so many women go through it. So I hope to see you in there. And no matter what, I look forward to seeing you on another episode of Weight Loss Simplified. Bye for now.